You can make effective changes in your shop quickly and easily, actually, without a full revamp. You need to get full buy in, though. That's what you do need, and to create trust with your customers. But how do you do that? We'll find out today when we talk with John Stuef on today's episode of Body Bangin' Podcast.
Welcome to Body Bangin', your podcast for all things body. Auto body, that is. And now, introducing Body Bangin's host, Mickey Woods of Mickey Woods Marketing. Mickey is a former auto collision center owner and is now a marketing and business development expert to shops across the globe.
Hey, everybody. This is Mickey with Mickey Woods Marketing. And on today's podcast, we have a very special guest. If you don't know this guy, then you're going to be pumped after today that you do know him. His name's John Stuef. He has been a manager of a lot of different shops, a lot of big MSOs. He's owned his own shops. Now he's a consultant to shops. He also has written a book, which I am actually partially through because I just got it in the other day. And every night I read it, and it's actually here with me, John. You'd be proud. I have it here with my book light because I read it in the evening, and it's awesome. He's also doing YouTube videos. You can check him out on LinkedIn. And that's actually where I stumbled across good old John here from his YouTube videos. I saw some videos he posted on LinkedIn. And not only are they informational, John, but they're funny as hell. You had me cracking up.
Good.
Yeah. So are you having fun with them?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Are you having fun with them?
Yeah, and it's something that I kind of put my mind to wanting to learn how to do. The first couple of, you can look at the transition when I started to where I'm at today, considerably better. I put about 40 videos down. I do,
wow.
10 of them I kind of scrapped that, they were early ones and I got rid of them. But the objective is, listen, I share a little of my information from my 40 plus years in the business. I enjoy talking to people and sharing stories, but more importantly is if I can get a laugh out of you and you walk away and it's enlightened your day, right? Then that's what it's about. And so little information with a little bit of lightheartedness. Sometimes I did one called Johnny Two Tenths, about a body technicians, and anybody that's been in the business for any length of time is familiar with the roadblocks that people will put in place not to accomplish a car. And that was really the video, right? Was instead of getting the car in the stall, we start looking for reasons why we can't work on it. Next thing you go back there and the technicians pull the car out of the stall, and you're like, what's going on? Well, we're missing this, and we're missing 2 tenths here and 3 tenths there, or, whatever it happens to be. But a lot of people got it. Then there was the other side of it that were insulted by it.
Oh, no.
Right? Because if you're that technician, you don't see, we all have blind spots. And so if you're that technician that can never seem to make over 50 to 60 grand a year, all I would challenge you with is to go look at the technician that makes 100,000 a year and model his behavior. In other words, I can tell you by working with technicians forever, the successful, high-producing technicians are generally optimistic people.
Mm-hmm.
They're consistent. They have a set of habits that they do every single solitary day. Mm-hmm. They're there usually before everyone else. They leave after everyone else. And they're easy to work with. They're not the guys that are looking to be negative. They're not the guys or the gals that are looking to put the roadblocks in place. They're the technicians that are your go-to people. And because, there's that saying of, whatever you put out, you get back, right?
Yeah.
And if you're putting out negative, people are going to stay away from you.
That's right.
You've been an owner, right? So if you have that negative technician that is always going to cause you an issue when you give them a car, and then you've got your A-hitter technician that never gives you an issue, who are you going to give the next car to?
Right.
And so they produce their own reality.
For sure.
And so that was what the premise of that video was. It did 5,000 some odd views. It's getting over if you know about LinkedIn and engagement, you want over 2%. It's like 4% engagement level.
Awesome.
So, and you never know which video is going to hit the mark or not. I
That's
just
right.
did one yesterday. I put out yesterday that's really hitting the mark. It's just a goofy, funny video where I'm drinking a Stella, how to run a stress-free body shop.
Right?
Oh,
that's the one with the Chris Farley picture, right? With his hair all.
Did you see that one?
Yeah, that's hysterical.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. And so that's getting great response. And then I do informational ones, like what's the most important word in the vocabulary for a writer? It's somebody's first name, right? Because ultimately,
yes.
If you call somebody ma'am or sir, you're creating that relationship of professionalism. That's great. But ultimately, I don't want a professional relationship with a customer. I want a friend.
Yeah.
And
somebody you can trust.
Friends use first names, right?
Yeah.
If I'm on a first name basis with a client or a customer, then I have a really good shot at keep getting a good survey, right? Yeah. And as you know, things don't always go the way they're supposed to go in the body shop world. When things are getting offline, if I can call you up and say, Mickey, listen, I apologize, or I'm not apologize, but I'm just giving you a heads up. Car was coming around we were getting it ready for delivery and noticed, there's an issue with it. And I'm sure you'll understand. I don't want to give it to you.
Yeah.
Wreck.
Right? Yeah. Surprise.
Well, exactly. And one of the things I share in my videos are word tracks. The reason most people aren't successful or reach a level of success is because, and they don't climb over that hill, is they don't have anybody that's standing back that can mentor them to the next place.
Yeah.
In other words, they have blind spots. We all do. And that's why they're called blind spots. And your habits produce those results, right? Your work habits.
Yes.
That's your subconscious program. The way I describe it to people is the first time you learn to drive a stick shift. Do you know how to drive a stick?
Yes.
So I want to ask you right now, okay?
Okay, give it to me.
Who taught you to drive a stick shift, and do you remember what it was like?
Yeah, my parents taught me, and it was a disaster. It was a lot of herking and jerking and cursing.
So, and then what kind of car was it? Do you have any recollection?
Yeah, it was a Toyota 4x4 pickup.
Okay, so after you learn, at some point you got it, right?
Yes.
Now, how long did you drive the pickup with the stick? For any length of time?
Oh, yeah, I had that truck for about 3 years.
Right. So if I popped into the first day and you were in that truck with your mom or dad teaching you, that stressful day, you had to really be in that conscious state. In other words, have to 1000% know, put the clutch in, put it in gear, to let the clutch out, hit the accelerator at the next, perfect time so we get this smooth takeoff.
Yes.
Now, a year later, if I sat in the truck with you and you were driving, all of that was done subconsciously, right?
Yes, right.
And it was smooth. We all have some negative and some habits that we on the subconscious side, right, that we're not aware of that are producing these results in our work habit. If you have a mentor that can come in, and you have to be open, right? Don't take it as critical, it's a bad thing to have criticism, but the successful people, Tom Brady, the guy that just won the Super Bowl, the one thing they said about him was, listen, he had innate talent, right? You might have that baseline talent to be a decent communicator, have what it takes to be a great body shop manager, great service advisor, but he had the innate talent to be a great athlete.
Yes.
But here's the difference between great, right, and becoming the greatest or one of the greatest, is he recognized that he has to be open to constant coaching. Because even with a great baseline, you can get better and better and better by people that see your blind spots.
Yeah. Preach it, John. Preach it.
So that's what the video baseline of the videos are. And I give word tracks that I know work, right?
Yes. So important.
So let me give you an example, right? Your car gets damaged. How long did you have a body shop? A few years, right? You
Yeah.
were in that.
Yep.
And can you remember a time where you have one of those customers and you have to call up and you have to deliver what you think is bad news?
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
never comfortable, right?
Correct.
So I'll give you the word track I teach my guys. I said, listen, it's for when you have to deliver bad news. This is the word track you use when you call that customer. Hello, Mr. Smith. Just want to let we just found out a minute ago that we blasted the side of his car. The porter smashed it. We had it all ready, right? Hey,
Never happens. That never happens.
And we had your car all ready, and I'm sure you understand we're going to give your car back to you perfectly. We just had a little incident with it, and we'll take care of everything. And I'm sure you understand that things happen. Now, that word track of "I'm sure you understand," that's critical when you deliver news that might not be great. The reason being, when you were that little kid in first grade and your teachers looked around and gave instruction and they said, hey, does anybody here not understand? Nobody raised their hand because you did one thing and then everybody looked at you. So subconsciously, you're programmed when someone says, I'm sure you'll understand, to say, yes, I understand.
Right.
So
you're setting the mindset for them.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you can respond that way. And so your greatest tools as a manager, your greatest tools as a service writer is your vocabulary, right? Having an understanding of human behavior, how people work, and working from the conscious level to change some of your subconscious programming that are producing these negative results in your life. It's a little deep.
I love that. No, I absolutely love it. And you're exactly right. We have programs running that we've had our entire lives and we don't even know they're running, but they're going. And that's how we operate on the daily is these programs. We take the same road, same drive to work, same drive home. We get out of bed. We do the exact same things every day, subconsciously, these programs. And like you said, the way we talk to our guests, the way that we check them in, it's the same thing every day. And how do you break that habit? Oftentimes it's hard to sometimes be self-aware, but if you can have somebody come in and step in and say, hey, to shift the thinking and shift the perspective, that's where the power lies. Because I love to say it. It's one of my favorite sayings is you don't know what you don't know. And it can be great to have somebody like you, John, or somebody else on your team or a mentor come in to shed some light on some things. Because sometimes you just never thought about it that way. It's not bad. You're not an idiot. You just never thought about it that way. Or you just you get stuck in the rut of doing the same shit every day.
Yes. Yeah. And what's hard is it's like when you have people that have been doing the same shit the same way for every day, and they've been doing it 30 years, those are the difficult ones to change, right?
Yeah.
And so I always would tell my team, listen, I'm looking for people with will and the right attitude that fit the core values of our organization, teach the skill, because it's a lot easier to teach that than to try to have somebody break out of those old habits.
Yeah.
Experience, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and so the one thing that's paramount is I think, I always tell my guys, listen, the better manager I was the better team I had. In other words, making the right hiring choices on your team is critical. And when I was early on in my career, I would never consider my other employees, right? So if I had to hire a receptionist or I had to hire a body technician or a painter, I just went and did it. And then Monday morning came and the new guys showed up and everybody else is kind of, like they feel like they're not connected, like in the show, right?
Yeah.
So I did that for years until I became more self-aware. And that's kind of led me to my journey to write the book. But essentially, I want you to think about the fact of when you're hiring somebody to the team and you hire the right person on your team and you work with the right people, you're going to be better. That's number one.
Love that.
Two, for employee retention, if you own a shop or you're a new manager, I want you to consider the first 90 days that somebody joins the organization is the most critical, and that's when we lose them. And we all know we have a shortage of technicians.
Yep.
So we want to tilt that scale for higher employee retention. And one of the ways you can do that is to get buy-in from your other teammates. Because if I now bring in somebody from the body man, and I go and I get the other a couple body techs and say, hey, would you want to interview this gentleman? I get the front desk gal, I get or guy, I get one of my writers. Now I get the opinion from my team after the gentleman or the gals left. Sign off on them. They feel good about them. There's an introduction done. Now I have some buy-in from my team, right?
Yeah.
I'm not this person I know on our team that they don't feel good about.
Right.
I'll also tell you, as an organization, one of the things I never recognized years before was core values. What are the core values of your business? And what you have to understand is that when you run a one small shop, you really don't need core values because you are the core value. Whatever your value system is going to be the value system of that shop, right?
True. Very true.
But if you were a multi-shop organization, then to leverage that, you need to have core values so that if you run from shop A to shop B to C to D, they all have the same value system, and you're putting those right people on the team.
Yeah.
If you look, for instance, a company that has a great core value system would be Chick-fil-A. Do you guys have Chick-fil-A out there?
Yes. And they are freaking amazing. Every time I go through the drive-thru, I'm like, where do they find these stinking people? They are seriously the friendliest, nicest, most helpful people.
So, and I'll give you a quick story. I was doing core when the organization I worked for prior, we bought core values into play. And my team, we were talking, we would every day would bring a core value story to our work, about, because we were learning about them, the values of the company and what it looks like to have an organization connected by strong core values. One of my writers came back one day and we were in the team meeting and he said, hey, I have a story to share. And he said, I was at Chick-fil-A yesterday. He said it was super busy. I got up to the very front and he said it was $7.80 for my meal. And he said, I reached in my pocket and I recognized right then that I had no freaking money.
Oh.
And he said at that moment, the gal that was the receptionist or the guy or the gal said, or the cashier looked at him and said, no worries. Just when you get time, bring the money back if you can.
Wow. Wow.
So when you have a strong core value system, right, they know that one of their values probably is treat the guests like family. I don't know their core values.
Yeah.
But you empower your people with those. That way they are going to act and behave. They're like part of the family they're with, their tribe, and they understand the value system. But the more important thing is think of the impact it has on that team member who is empowered to give you a chicken sandwich, to take that risk and understand that they will not get in trouble for it, right? Because they're encouraged to live the core values. So let's just say theoretically the guy doesn't come back with the $7 and they're short at the end of the night. That team member has no fear that they'll be get in trouble for letting that person leave. They're trusted. And trust is the building block for a strong organization and engagement. So when you have a body shop, you've empowered your people and you let them take it and you always back them up because they're living the values as long as they're doing the right thing.
Well, I'm glad you said empowered because that's exactly the word that kept coming to mind. They empowered that person at Chick-fil-A to have that strength that they are part of the team. There's not going to be backlash. We all move together. And that's, gosh, so powerful. I love that word.
Right. And then, so thinking about it in that terms, all of a sudden they're not an employee of Chick-fil-A because you trusted them. They're taking ownership.
Yeah. They are part of it. Yes.
What do you want? You want ownership of that team member who can work with your customers on that level. And that's core values, trust, strong core value system, and proper engagement you give to your team. Because at the end of the day, there's a saying that goes, culture trumps strategy, right? So as an industry, we always focus on process, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there's what are your processes?
Yeah.
All those processes don't mean shit if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have engaged human beings doing it.
Right.
Culture strategy means if I have a team like they're engaged like a Chick-fil-A level, and maybe I don't have the perfect processes, they will still win the end of the day
Mm-hmm.
because of
Mm-hmm.
the fact that their engagement will overcome those deficiencies.
Right.
So that is critical when you're running a body shop, to recognize that we all understand the technical side on how to run a business, right? Or you might have, the technical side on how to fix a car, the technical side on how to write an estimate. But your real skill set needs to understand, how do you drive a deeper level of engagement with the people you lead every day? How do you
Yeah.
get to this level? And to do that, you have to have an understanding of human nature, and have that kind of growth mindset through your career, so
Mm-hmm.
that you're continually bringing in that additional information, or a mentor, or consultant, or somebody that can see it from a higher level, and point out where you got your blind spots.
Yeah. I love that. And I thought what kind of dawned on me as you were talking about having your staff participate in the hiring process, not like it's up to them who you hire, but letting them know and keeping them in the loop. I see a lot of shops, and I experienced this when I owned my shop and working for shops and with shops, is somebody new gets hired. Nobody knows who this dude or who this chick is. All of a sudden they're there the next day. And now all of a sudden people are feeling threatened. Now it's like,
Yeah,
who's this guy? Are they going to take all my work? Or who's this chick? Is she coming in to take over the place? Because they're just plopping them in and
yeah,
deal with it, kind of
yeah.
thing, versus being a part of the process. So it just totally changes the entire vibe of the process. Like you were suggesting, to bring them in the loop ahead of time before plunking somebody in your lap. That I think is a game changer. Just that little bit right there. If shops that are listening right now can take these little snippets of what you're saying, there's so much usable information that you're spitting out right now, and I love it. Because that's my goal. We talked about it. Let's give them things that they can take action on. They can be better and do better. And I know in your book, I have only gotten through like the first quarter of it, but I'm like buzzing through it with my highlighter, because you get into some of these topics at a different level. And so I really recommend, if you're digging what John is talking about right now, which if you're not digging it, I don't know what planet you're on, because he's giving you some real straight facts. Get the book, follow him, engage with him, because there's so much great information, like we're talking about, that you get stuck in your rut of doing the same thing every day, that it takes somebody like John to come in and talk about things that are just tweaks. We're talking about just tweaking things. This isn't even a whole like revamp, to tweak it of, hey, I found this new painter. He's going to, I want you guys to come in and meet him. I just interviewed him, really liked him. Let's sit down and have a chit chat about it after he leaves. I mean, that's something easy that they can do right out of the gate. You even talk about your culture meetings in the book, of every day doing a meeting at the beginning of the day, and the other employees start to give accolades to one of the other employees in the shops, and building up those feel good chemicals in the body and that kind of stuff. These are all little tweaks that shops can make without a total revamp of your entire system.
Correct. Absolutely. It's culture, right? Culture
Yeah,
trumps strategy. You get a higher level of engagement from your team. And when your customers go there, they notice the difference, right? Because,
totally.
yeah,
Totally.
and they notice that their team, the people they're dealing with, are empowered, they're confident, and that's how you provide a great customer experience. Um,
Yes.
and talking about one thing in the shop, we all experience where we make a mistake as a shop, right? So let's talk about, how do you provide exceptional customer experience? Okay,
Mm.
or tips for
Great
that.
topic. Great
Tips.
topic.
And yeah, switching gears again, but another,
That's all right.
but I would, a lot of times, a customer comes back in because we made a mistake. So they've wasted their time. And the guy pulls the car around the back. We fix the mistake. We bring the car back around. We give him the keys and say, okay, all set. Okay. All we did at that moment was we met the expectation of the customer.
Right.
We didn't exceed the customer expectation.
Right.
There's studies that show people don't talk about being met. They don't call their buddy and they say, hey, I took my car to the body shop. How did they do? Oh, they met my expectations. They're not telling me. They're telling the story like they had a mistake and the shop, came to my house and went above and beyond and gave me a $50 gift card for my time and inconvenience. You made a visceral impact to that human being, right? Now you've given for $50 when they came back and you plopped them that gift card and you said, I apologize. You shouldn't have had to come back. Here's $50. Go take it, do what you want.
Yeah.
Now, most guys would say you can't afford to do that. And I say, really? You can't afford not to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of stuff that person now becomes your ambassador. For that $50 you spent, that is the cheapest advertising anywhere. That person goes out and tells other people, and they go home at night and they have dinner and they say, yeah, I went back. This is the greatest place, even though they made a mistake. Even though I had to go back, they didn't just make it right. They made it great.
That's right.
So setting the tone with a couple things, right, is recognize when a customer brings their vehicle into your shop, the minute they come in, they don't trust you, right? So your goal to build rapport and great customer service is to get into their inner trust ring.
Yes.
So what I always tell my team is, listen, you do it two ways. You do it through truisms. You ever heard of a truism?
Yep.
Which is looking at something together, right? And it's a truth. So the customer has, for instance, you should always have your body shop should have a name tag for who you are, right? Customer enters and I say, hey, I'm John. Your name is?
Mickey.
Right? Nice to meet you. I see you have an assignment and you're with this DRP and you have a 92. What do you drive?
I drive a 2020 Jaguar F-150. Oh, no.
F-150
F-Pace.
I'm not going to put negative energy on that, but you got a 2020 Jaguar. Let's go take a look at it. Now, right then I gave you two truths, right? You saw, we validated right at that moment that I told you my name was John and you could back it up and see it was John because I showed you my name tag. You have a 2020 Jaguar, don't you?
Yep.
Right? Another truth. Now here's the psychology with that. Here's what we know, what the really smart guys know, that if you give somebody 5 truisms at the beginning of a meeting, you build the critical thing you need to start to build rapport, which is trust. No rapport is built until trust is built.
I love that.
So people see the writer and they'll think that rapport is about talking about football. Well, yes, but that's not nobody wants to talk about football if they don't trust you.
Yeah.
They want to talk about a subject or a common subject once they get some trust. If you know this little psychological trick of truisms and 5 of them, so now I walk you out to the car. Now I've given you 2 truths and I look right at you and I said, now I have to take 4 or 5, I have to take 4 pictures for the insurance company, 4 corner shots, and they watch you take the 4 corner shots. It's 4 more truisms. Now we've seen 6 truisms. Everything I say I'm going to do, you've watched me do. Then I say, open your door, take a picture of the inside, get your mileage, boom. And at that point, I walk around to the front of the car and I know the one question you're wondering. How
much is it going to cost me? Or that was my second.
So if you're a great writer, what you're going to do at that very point is you're going to say, I bet you're wondering how long this repair is going to take, aren't you? And you say it before they say it. And if you do that before they say it, you control the narrative. There's a psychological component to that. And to do that, you now have 6 truisms And now when I said that to you, before you said it, you're like, wow, he even knows what I'm thinking. Okay.
Right.
You're the tone for this experience. Because what happens next is I say to you, well, it takes weeks, doesn't take months. And I laugh. But here's how the process works. I will get the car in the shop, and tomorrow by 12 o'clock, I will give you a call with another update. At that time, we'll have a better idea. We'll take the car apart. We'll see what we're dealing with. And does that sound good?
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Affirmation words, positive affirmation words. I didn't look at the bumper and say it's going to take 2 days and set expectations that are unrealistic. Because when we set expectations and say it could be, should be, will be, the customer hears, he said Friday. I said, no, I said could be Friday. No.
Yeah.
When we met, you lose trust, right?
Yeah.
So now, as long as I call you tomorrow at 12 o'clock and I give you the update like I said I would, another truism, you feel trustworthy with me. And when I call and give you the critical update for this great customer service experience, I'm going to control the narrative again. Too many times, the writers don't make their phone calls because they get bound up in the minutia. They get too deep into the technical, which I did a video on, where I had the hot pockets, right? And I said, I don't know if you saw it, but
I didn't see that one.
These hot ham and cheese hot pockets. But then I thought it was 2 ingredients, and I looked and it was 55, right? Way too technical. So as a writer, your job is just to reach out, communicate, and control the narrative because you're the expert. So when I call you back tomorrow, I say start all my conversations with your first name and great news. Great news. We've got the car taken apart, not torn down. They don't tear down.
No. Yeah.
We got the car taken apart. We've written the estimate is $3,822. I've ordered the parts. And here's your kicker. Right at this point, you're going to say, and I will call you back Thursday or whatever 2 days is from then with another update. Now, at that point, I didn't give you a timeline. All I told you is when I was going to call you back, because as a writer, that's the only flipping thing you control.
Yeah.
You do not control how many parts come in. You don't control when the adjusters okay it. You don't control any of those nuances.
True.
And the minute that you make a forecast, like a weatherman, and think you're going to tell you something, and then when I call you and it doesn't come true because I told you it was going from body to paint, it didn't make it, or I made an expectation set and I don't meet it, I lose all that trust I built up.
Yeah.
So the job is easy if you're conscious in a conscious state and you learn these word tracks to control the narrative with your customer so that you have a very, you never break that trust and never lose that trust with a customer you build strong rapport. And so when my writers do another update, they call just when they said they would. And if you don't meet that criteria, trust is gone.
Yeah.
So I call you back in 2 days and I say, great news, always great news. Car, we have some of the parts, don't have all the parts. I'll call you back Friday with another update or whatever it happens to be. That's your circle back. But if you get down that rabbit hole of explaining every line on the estimate, people don't want to know.
No.
Right, this where the car's at. The world's too busy.
Yeah.
So that would set the tone, because if you lose trust, here's what I guarantee you. The minute you lose trust, you're getting a bad survey. You can't renew it. They don't trust you. And when they come to pick the car up, even though you told them it looked good, they don't trust you. So guess what? They will be that nitpicker. They'll be out finding that flaw. They will look at every little dent. Yeah. And then the customer will say, you did a terrible repair. So recognize your job as a great leader, as a great body shop manager, as a great service advisor, is to learn the proper methodologies, proper word tracks, so that they become subconscious programming. They become your habit to get you the best results.
I love that. I love it. And, we see oftentimes writers, especially now, using like text updates. And I love text updates. They're great. The problem is, and I'm sure you'll agree, I'm going to set you up to agree with me, is they let it take the place of the communication. Okay, great. You're going to text them that they're still on track for whatever date, for the shops that, have their process is to set a completion date, but then they're not still calling. They leave it up to this automated system to update the customer, and they don't talk to the customer, the guest, the entire process unless there's a problem. I mean,
There you go.
come on. We have got to do better with our communication. And like you're saying, building that relationship, they need that heart connection. They don't realize they do, but that's what they want. They want that heart connection. And like you said, trust is the first main core building block of any relationship.
Well,
so without that,
yeah. And so the text is great. And JD Powers did a study on customer service satisfaction. And what they said is exactly to your point. They said that the number one way to get maximum satisfaction is one-on-one human connection, not text, not email updates.
Yeah.
And they said, if you have that piece, if you've kept them updated for where they're at, and oftentimes writers will not want to call the customer because it's the same story. They don't have anything new, right? Maybe you won't have that part for a month. You don't stop calling the customer. What a great opportunity for you to build a deeper relationship with that customer.
It's me again.
Built with time, guys. So call the customer every 2 weeks, and this is how you frame it. Hey, just giving you a call, Mr. Smith, to let you know we still don't have your part, but I hope you're doing good, and I will call you in a couple days with another update, right? And maybe you make a joke, okay? Yeah. People don't recognize time is spent with people is where you build a rapport, and you are setting yourself up to be part of the problem. It isn't your fault technically that you can't get the part, but you become the other side. In other words, what the customer interprets by you not even calling them because you don't have anything new to tell them is that you don't care.
Yeah.
People fill in the blanks. When you have lack of communication, people fill in the blanks with negativity. It's human condition.
Yeah.
Why is that human condition? It's because if we trusted everything first time out, we wouldn't have made it this far on the planet. When we were back with the lions chasing us and something in the bush is rattling, we didn't just jump in the bush. We'd be dead. Right? That's built into us to be negative, to be like that's the human condition. So when you don't have clear communication with a customer, they fill in the blanks with bad things, right? You don't care.
Yep.
They probably never ordered my part. And you have allowed this story to happen in the customer's mind that is not going to end well for you as the writer.
Well, and the last thing you want is them chasing you. That is, though, I mean, you've been on the consumer side of it. For instance, I just ordered a couch, and I say I don't really mean just. It was October, and nobody calls me. I'm constantly calling them for an update. Sorry, things are backed up because of COVID. Same old message, but I'm having to call them to get that message. You know how much I would appreciate that, John, if they were just to call me and say, I'm really sorry, just wanted to keep you in the loop. Their survey, when I get one, is going to not be positive because not one single person has reached out to me in the last, what is it? March. So 5 months. 5 months. Now, granted, most cars you don't have for 5 months. Sometimes you do because of back-ordered parts.
Ford now you do. They got a lot of back-ordered parts.
Yeah. Yes. But to your point, care. It's better to over communicate than under communicate. And if they're having to reach out to you, you already dropped the ball. Just know that. Unless you've got that random lady who wants to call you every single day or some dude, we get those. But for the most part, you should be the one initiating that engagement.
100%. And what's funny is that I can remember early on in my career, I'd had a real hard time with calling people with no information or what I viewed to be negative information. It would get my heart. I get that little pit in my stomach when I had a customer with something that wasn't, I know what they didn't want, right?
Yes.
I wasn't smart enough. I just didn't know. And then I created all this drama. And that's one of the videos I did. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes. Right? I'm so glad you're talking about that.
Yes. It's because we are the ones, well, let's start with this premise, right? What's the difference between a flower and a weed?
The perception that we've placed on it. Yeah.
right? So, and the perception and the value we place on it is what causes stress to everything in our day. Okay. So when you run a body shop, I can give you a list of thousands of things that you could perceive to be bad.
Yeah.
Okay? You could perceive all these items to be bad. You could perceive that the part coming in wrong was bad. You could perceive that the technician not coming in today is bad. All that stuff you can apply negative values. Now, here's what I guarantee you when you do that: a negative outcome.
Yeah.
So when you recognize and high blood pressure and overweight and diabetes and the list goes on, alcoholism. So when you recognize that the value you place on the events happening in your shop causes you to feel a certain way and your team to feel a certain way, and you're the leader. Okay. Well, when the leader is stressed out, the team gets stressed out, right? And the whole organization goes backwards. As a leader, you have to be like that. I always tell my guys, you've got to be the guy. And there's a movie, it was a great movie. I don't know if you saw it. It's probably did it. It's a war movie. Oh shoot, I can't think of the name, but the guy's standing on the beachhead. Famous actor. He's on the beachhead. It's in Vietnam. They're dropping bombs, and he wants this guy to surf. And the guy, this young kid, these kids are all running around. This guy, the general or whatever, is like in his 50s, and he's as calm as can be, right? Bombs are going everywhere. Wow. The kid surfs, but they want calm. Your team wants calm.
Yeah.
You're the leader, right? So once you understand that these events that you've tied a negative value to resonate throughout your whole shop, and all your team starts to dip into this negativity, you have to look yourself in the mirror and recognize the starting point for this negativity in your shop is you. And when you understand that there's a saying, get me a jar of stress, that all is manufactured from your mind and the value you place on the events. So younger guy, myself, manager 30 years ago, I was terrible. I was breaking phones every day. I talked to a buddy of mine the other day. He's like, man, are you breaking any more phones? I would it. And he was a phone man, actually. He had a lot of.
So he was one of your best friends.
I go, Frank, I haven't broke a phone in 10 years. He goes, what? Did you change? I go, yes, I absolutely did. I quit. I recognized a long time ago that all these events that we tied a negative value to are always going to happen. And it has an impact on myself, my health, my team.
Yeah.
When you have a situation happen, is it a good thing or a bad thing? No, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
And that's your job as a professional as a true body shop professional, to navigate that and handle it. Don't tie emotion to it and go through it. Because then you can change your perception. Like I remember I tell a story in the book about, I took a shop over the first day. Everybody had this negative attitude. Well, two things. All day long, you know what I heard from people? They would come in my office knocking, hey, John? Yes, got a minute? Yeah, I got a problem. Next person. Hey, John, what's going on? Hey, I got a problem. You know what I mean? Don't knock anymore. Just open the door. Right?
Let me guess. You got a problem.
I got a problem. So the next day, right, I went home that night and I was I just felt, I went for a run and I felt so crappy, and I recognized it was because I had all these problems, right? So the next morning I called the team meeting and I said, listen, I want you to say the word problem and recognize that every word you say, every value you place on an event in a negative light makes you feel bad. So how does a problem make you feel? Oh yeah, well, it's something we can fix. Doesn't make you. How about opportunity? How do you like the word opportunity?
Yes.
It feels good, right? There's a different feeling based on the value we place on the words. That's just human.
Yeah.
So today, guys, going forward, we never use the word problem in our shop. All we have here are opportunities. Well, then that day, the guy would come in. I said, and by the way, if one of your other teammates says that and says problem, please correct them to opportunity. Because we have a great shop with lots of opportunities. So they would come in and we make a joke about it, right? And the events happen So by tying a bunch of negative value to the event, you're not going to change the freaking outcome to anything but negative. So all I did is that by just changing one word, we changed the whole outlook in the shop.
Yeah.
And it became a more positive environment.
Yeah.
So just recognize the power of your words, the power of the word tracks, the people you have working for you, the power of your team's blind spots, your blind spots, and understand that your job to be a better leader and a greater leader is to understand human condition, to understand human nature. Get a little level deeper understanding of yourself through ongoing, like you said, ongoing personal development.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I talk a lot, so.
Hey, that's what we're here to do. It's perfect. Well, and so let's make sure everybody knows in the description below, you're going to find links to all of the wonderful places that John's at, his YouTube channel, his LinkedIn. Where else are you at, John? What's your main?
From Doing the Leading. I have my LinkedIn. Go there, become a member. I've got about 4,000 followers now on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
And I do a video once a week. So just subscribe. Any questions? I get people calling me all the time, do consulting work, open to all that. And just, I do it just because of a couple components, right? Is that before I leave the planet, right? I'm towards the end of my career. I want to help as many people as I can help. Maybe if I save or help one person from some mistake and they learn something from me and it makes it easier on their job. I do it because we have a great industry. I love the business. I got into the business at a young age. My grandfather was in the business.
Cool.
It's just the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
So if you enjoy the videos, some are good, some are bad. I do my best.
Hey, it's all perception. They're all great.
And then I got an audio book called Doing to Leading. You can listen to it on Audible or my book From Doing to Leading. And to kick off your show, I like to give your listeners, if they mention your podcast and subscribe to my YouTube channel for the first 10 people, or I'm going to give out 10 free books, 9 books.
That'd be amazing. So where do you want them to do this at? On LinkedIn? So subscribe to your channel on YouTube and then on LinkedIn?
Section of YouTube.
Okay.
And there, put listen to the name of your show and I will reach out to you on the comment section and you can email me and I'll get you hooked up with a book.
Perfect. So make sure you guys heard that. To get a free copy of this book that I'm holding right here, From Doing to Leading, from our boy John Stuef, you got to go to his YouTube channel, subscribe, and down in the comments, make sure that you wrote on there that you watched Body Bangin' Podcast with Mickey Woods. For the first 10, he's given a free book.
That's right.
Yeah. Awesome.
And listen, this podcast with you behind it and what you've done already, super excited because it's going to be a huge benefit to the industry.
Oh.
And you've got some great guests coming.
Thank you. Thank you, John. I'm super excited. Our goal is this is why I loved your videos and I knew I was going to love you and I do. And I'm sure everybody does as they're listening is number one, let's have a good freaking time. Let's have a fun time. Let's laugh. We're all in this together and let's try to help each other. And I think you've done that through just our conversation today, all the content you're putting out there, all the consulting work that you're doing, you're helping shops across the country. And I love it. And you're speaking in truth, but in love. And that's all we can really ask for, right?
I love that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe to this podcast, or if you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe and click that bell so you can get notifications. And make sure you go to John's YouTube channel, which is called, what's the YouTube channel called, John?
From Doing to Leading.
From Doing to Leading. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have some incredible topics and guests coming your way you will not want to miss. If you are watching on YouTube and don't want to miss the latest and greatest, you'll want to hit the bell after subscribing, so you will get a pop-up each time a video podcast goes live. To our devoted fans, would you mind paying it forward and sharing this little gem with someone else you think may benefit from it? Much love from all of us here at Body Bangin', all things auto body.